Lesson 33, the last chapter of the book. We are on our third lesson in the me verbs, and we are going to look at istimi and then some forms of ida and the optative mood. The vocabulary of lesson 33 is found on page 216. On istimi, I cause to rise, or I stand up, or I arise. Dokeo, I seem or think. Dyname, I am able. Dynamis, dynamios, a miracle or power. Evin is the second aorist of veno. Heteros, I own, the another, which really is a different one from the word allos, refers to another of the same kind. Heteros refers to another of a different kind. We get our word heteros here, heterodoxy, one false doctrine or different doctrine. Istimi, I cause to stand, or I stand. Kathime, I sit. Ida, I know. A second perfect uses a present. And this second perfect you won't translate it perfect, you'll translate it present, but you'll recognize that it is a perfect. Olos, eon, whole or all. Omios, I own, like or similar. Ute, and not, nor. And ute, neither nor. Parayiname, I come near, I arrive, I come. Phonorao, I make manifest, I manifest. Fimi, I say, or fimi, I say. And os as an adverb and a conjunction as or when. We've already seen this, os as a conjunction in 1 John. Then the principal parts of istimi are found in paragraph 539, and you see the breathing marks there. Look very carefully, and you'll see that there is no, it's a rough breathing on the first part, that's present. On the aorist, it's smooth. On the perfect active and perfect middle, it's rough, and then on the aorist passive again, smooth. So watch that, it does change. The stem of istimi is sta, as we saw earlier, and the system is found on page 600. So let's look at that. What I failed to do last time was tell you about tithimi, and so we have the present of tithimi, paragraph or page 246, and on 247 we have the aorist. So the present on one side, aorist on the other, same way we had it with dithimi. And then with istimi, the one we're talking about now, you see that on page 248, the present system. On 249, the second aorist. Now, istimi also has a first aorist. That wouldn't be here because it isn't irregular. But steen is there, esteen, and that's on page 249. So learn those. You won't have to reproduce all of them, but you really ought to know where they are. You ought to know how they're formed. So spend some time in that chapter, or in those pages, learning those forms, tithimi, istimi. Of course, learn the principal parts for the quiz and for the exam. I just mentioned in paragraph 544 that istimi has a first aorist, esti-sa, and then it also has that second aorist, estin. We have those there. We've already seen it. The paragraph 549, again, he talks about ida being a second perfect uses the present, and he says that the conjugation is found on page 63, or paragraph 60, paragraph 603. So I look there to find that. Then, in paragraph 550, we have the optative mood. Now, the optative is used to express a wish. It may also be used with a negative to express a negative wish. I don't want this to happen. God forbid, may it never come to pass. Mi yanito. So this is found in Paul very often. When Paul says, shall we sin that grace may abound? Then he says, God forbid, may it never come to pass. He uses it very often in Romans. The optative is also used in some other places, but very scarce in the New Testament. Conditions contrary to fact. Page 551. You'll find a full orbed discussion of this in Dana and Manti, page 286. We'll talk about Dana and Manti a little later. But this is the condition contrary to fact is really a second-class condition. You see that it has secondary tenses in the indicative in both protasis and apodosis, and then the protasis has e, and the apodosis has on. Now, just a little word about that. You see the e with the indicative, on, plus the subjunctive, and let me drop that down. That's the third class. Plus the subjunctive. And then that's first class and third class. We've had these before. And then the second class is the one we're just talking about here, e in the protasis and then on in the apodosis. And both having secondary tenses in the protasis and apodosis. So, if we look at these together, you'll see that there are two kinds of conditions. The first and second class are fulfilled, and the third and fourth class are unfulfilled. Fulfilled, unfulfilled. Now, this one is assumed true. This one is assumed false. Assume true, assume false. If whatever, and I assume it is, assuming this to be true, assuming this to be false. So, I'm talking about reality, talking about fulfilled. This one is future, unfulfilled yet. And we have another one, e with the optative, which you'll see in Danon Manti. And this one is a more probable. And this is only possible. In fact, it is remotely possible, e with the optative. So those are the conditions. You can check them out in Danon Manti or some other advanced grammar. In paragraph 552, we have the uses of yinome. It happened, it came into being, it came to pass, etc. Those are all there, all used in the New Testament in various ways. And then in paragraph 553, he mentions a yenito and a yenito that, and you see the illustrations there. It came to pass that he came, it came to pass and he came, it came to pass he came. Different constructions for that thought. Now in 1 John, we want to give 3 more verses to end up this section, to end up the course. And we have the first one here, verse 11 of chapter 2, 1 John. He says, the one who is hating his brother. We've seen this before, a participle acting as subject, noun use, substantive. But that is a subject of these 3 verbs, estin, paripati, and then atilopson. What he's saying then is the one who is hating his brother is in the darkness, and he is walking in darkness, and he does not know where he is going. A relative adverb, so a relative clause, as object of ethen, which is a form of ida, which we just talked about. Ida. He does not know where he is going, and then an oti clause as an adverb, telling why. He doesn't know where he's going because the darkness has blinded his eyes. Now, there's some question in my mind whether it's the oti clause modifies this verb or whether it modifies all 3 verbs. He may be walking in darkness because the darkness has blinded his eyes. If that's the case, then you would put the line over here and run it up to here. Then it is modifying all 3 verbs. My students go round and round on that with me, and it's really a matter of interpretation. And we don't go into that deeply at this juncture. Then verse 12, teknia, vocative there. It's a nominative, uses a vocative. I write to you because the sins have been forgiven you through his name. Form of aphemi, have been forgiven you through his name. You can look in the back of Machen, you'll find that form and get it squared away. Oti clause again, used adverbially. Then the verse 13, fathers, I write to you, because you have known the one from the beginning. Whether they have known him physically may be debatable, but they have known him spiritually. They have known him from the beginning, the one who's from the beginning. And young men, I write to you, because you have overcome the evil one. The young men are overcomers. The little children, their sins have been forgiven. The fathers have known the one who's from the beginning. Very, very important to have all those in your church. And the Greek tells us all about this, tells us why and so forth. We can see it very carefully by the diagram that we have there. Well, that's the lesson. That's Machen. I want to talk to you a little more, though, about what you can do next. And we'll come right back with that after this.